Alright guys, today we have two 1981 DeLorean dmc-12s from Back to the Future. I like these cars. I am a huge DeLorean fan, but yeah, I think these are just awesome. Now let's get started with the second movie car. You might be wondering, well, why aren't you starting with the first? Well, it's because I don't have the first. I tried looking for one, and I couldn't find one for a really decent price. I got these two together for a really cheap price on eBay, like maybe $15. But yeah. Let's get started with the front end here. Really iconic front end with the dual headlights on each side with the tiny little grill. One thing I don't like about this car is that the grill, they didn't even try to put any effort in trying to like put maybe even like a little bit of detail for like the DMC logo. But I could maybe possibly like put or paint something like on that says DMC, but it probably won't look very good, so I probably won't do anything. It lights up blue. Both of them do that. They automatically time out, so you don't have to press a button or anything or again. They just kind of, you wait for them and they turn off, which is another nice thing about them. It's a nice windshield there. I like it. It doesn't have the, normally these lower end models have the, on top of the roof, they have the plastic, going across the roof in there. But this one does not have that. So that's nice. Speaking of the roof, we got the iconic gull-wing doors on this model, which are a nice touch as well. You can see the door panel right there. Isn't the most detailed, but it's at least something. The door itself doesn't have a window in it, which I found another thing that was disappointing, but like I said, it's not the most detailed model ever, so I was just taking, I would give it some slack. Sorry for the camera angle. I get started on the dash there. You can't really see it. There's a sticker in the dash for the speedometer and all the other gauges and stuff like that there. So that gives a bit of detail. You got the handbrake there. You got the seats. You got the shifter. It's a manual in the movie and in this car. And you got all the stuff that Doc has placed on the dash there, like the clock and stuff like that. Yeah, that's pretty much it for this. It doesn't have actual pedals in it, so that was kind of also disappointing. But I could probably maybe take this car apart and, do some modifications to it to make it a little bit more realistic. But I don't know if I will or not, because these aren't main priority right now. I'm working on another project. Of 70s El Camino right at the moment. I'm customizing that. So, yeah. That's pretty much it for the interior. Let's move to the back. Here we got another iconic part of the car, the rear end, with these nice taillights. One thing that this car does not include that I wish it did was the actual car. You have some turn signals on the end here of the taillights, and you also have some reverse lights in the end there, right next to the license plate. You'd have some, inside the tail lenses, you'd have those white reverse lights with the turn signals on the outside, but this doesn't include that. They're just red, which I feel like they could have done that. It wouldn't have been like super hard, but I mean, I've had lower end DeLorean models, like even cheaper than this, and they had that, but it's alright. You got the exhaust there, the dual exhausts, and then you got the license plate from the second movie, which looks like a barcode, which is pretty cool. Let's start up on here. Normally where the engine bay would be has been replaced with this mess of wiring. Well, not really on this car, but in the actual car in the movie, it's just a mess of wiring and stuff. And then you also have the Mr. Fusion generator thing that instead of plutonium, like in the first movie that the car is powered by, you have this, which Doc can just take trash, normal household trash, and throw it in there, and it powers the DeLorean, which was really cool as well. But yeah, not much detail back here. Most of the stuff is just like molded into the actual plastic, like except for, you know, these green things and the wires, and everything else is just molded in. Another cool thing about this car, like from the second movie, if you've ever watched it, you know that the DeLorean flies, and it does that little tire thing where they go down, and that's pretty cool. This model does that. Probably my favorite feature on this entire model. So yeah, let's flip those back up. Then we can start looking at the bottom. Like I said, they do light up, so there's the battery compartment that you can replace it. I have taken this car apart because when I first got it, it had a little bit of electrical issues, and sometimes the button wouldn't work. At first, I thought, well, it's just got dead batteries in it. But no, I replaced the batteries, and it still didn't work very well. So I unscrewed the bottom here with those, you know, 2 screws and the 2 screws in the back. And I took it apart, and I figured that there was actually some wires that were damaged. And I was like, well, how'd that happen? So I replaced them and fixed all the wiring stuff. So yeah. Now it works okay. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the second movie's car. Now I can get started on the third and final movie's car. This is a really nice car too. I like this one, but I do not like it as much as the second one because the second movie is probably well, the first movie is definitely my favorite. Second movie's gotta be my second. And then the third is my least favorite because I just don't like how they designed the DeLorean. I know that they had to do a whole bunch of stuff to like the car to make it look, you know, from that time era that they traveled back to, but I just don't like this big bulky thing on the hood with these wood straps holding it down, and I don't like the tires. I think the tires just look so weird. But yeah, let's start on the front end. It's pretty cool, not much different. I mean, the main thing is this bulky thing on the hood that you can see here, and this little bar here, which I can't remember what's for. It's been a couple years since I've actually watched the Back to the Future trilogy. But yeah, that's pretty much it for that. Like I showed you, this car lights up as well, that blue color, which is really nice touch. Yeah, let's get started on the side. You got those orange rimmed tires, which I don't actually know if in the movie they're red or if they're orange. I can't remember. But, yeah, let's look at, they got the separate mirrors there, and then the door. This one actually stays up, which is really nice. Almost nothing has changed for the interior. They honestly just copied down the design, which it makes sense. In the movie, they're basically identical. So, you know, that's pretty much it. Nothing to show there. Rear end's basically identical again. They did the same thing with the taillights on this one. Just didn't put any detail in them. They were just red, which I don't like. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh, another thing. On the 81 DeLoreans, some of them had a DeLorean logo painted white, or well, I guess some of them were painted white. On the black bumper piece here, they would have DeLorean imprinted in it. But this one doesn't even have it painted on, doesn't have it, like, printed in there. It's nothing. So yeah, that was kind of a disappointment as well. But yeah, I think that's it for this car. Thank you guys for watching. Remember to subscribe, like, and hit that bell.